It is basic around conversation. Let us talk. Let us have conversations. Average political party that we know today don't have an ideals. What is APC known for? What is the PDP known for? What is NNDP known for? What is ADC known for? What is all these parties? What are their ideals? We can't pinpoint to say this is their ideals.
Everyone who is a leader has a vision. The problem is, what kind of vision do you have?
It was Dangote that said, when a Nigerian entrepreneur dies, God will have mercy on him and not send him or her to hell. Because being an entrepreneur in Nigeria is hell in itself. We've heard of stories of people who don't have even a fuel tanker. They get allocations for oil in Nigeria. They don't have a fuel tank, a petrol tanker. And people who have storage farms don't even have access to it. I believe in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not APC. I'm not a card carrying member of any party yet.
Yeah. When you're talking about reading, people don't even have time to read about a manual of a product.
The people who are criticizing Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking up subsidy, their candidate was going to take off that subsidy too.
When it favors you, it is called favor. When it does not favor you, it is called.
Hello, welcome to Light Africa Studio. Today we have our leader, Mr. Philip. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, pleasure. Welcome, sir. And we also have Pastor Jerry.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir. So today we want to talk about the betterment of Nigeria, leadership, and also you will be understanding why we have Pastor in the house and we have Mr. Philip in the house. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Well, before we dive full into the interview, I would like our leader to say one or two things, Mr. Philip.
All right, you've said the major thing. My name is Philip, but at this context, my name is Philip Akor Paul. Just like you said, I pride myself to be a follower. So in the context of that, you would ask, maybe that has made me a leader, but that sounds very flattering. I'm excited to be here, and I consider it a very rare privilege when opportunities like this are given. So thank you so much for the platform.
Yeah, welcome, sir. And Pastor Jerry. So I would like you to do one or two things as we dive full into the interview.
Actually, it's a great privilege to be here on this show, and I know a lot of people will be enlightened, and then hopefully we'll get blessed.
Yeah. So, sir, what is it about the achievement of this government so far as a nation?
As it has to do for the government, I think I would leave that answer to an average Nigerian so that I do not come out as taking sides. My past interviews have been very controversial because of the stature of the mind of an average Nigerian. But then, in an attempt to answer that question, I would attempt to rephrase it. I think we should be looking at it from the perspective of what progress have we been able to make into nationhood as a people in Nigeria for over 65 years. An average Nigerian does not understand the difference between when you say a nation and a state. But then we use those words metaphorically to mean that by our minds, we're telling each other that we are journeying into becoming a nation. That is one single unit with one history, with one language, with one values, with one belief. So I would like to answer that question in that dimension, and to bring answer to that, I think that we're not doing so bad and we're not doing so well.
Wow. That is an amazing answer. We're not doing so bad, we're not doing so well. So, Pastor, I know you have one or two things to tell us about this particular.
As a country, if we look at it from different perspective from the citizens, it will look as though we are not making progress.
Yeah.
From those in the leadership, possibly politically, it will look as though we are doing fine. But I would say we are making progress in the sense that the level of awareness over the past 10 years now has increased.
Yes.
If you check our youth, we are becoming more tech savvy. We tend to have heart to also think to become leaders. Unlike previous years, it was just a journey for the adults, those 75, 80. But you see young boys, you see young men striving to become leaders today. So I believe we're on a path towards progress, and definitely with time we'll get there.
Wow, that is an amazing belief onto the nation Nigeria. And definitely, I believe we are getting there already. So, sir, as regards to politics and the youth, what do you have to say about the youth? I heard you say something a few moments ago that the youth are not willing to come into politics, and that is the major problem we are facing as a nation.
Yes, but to also give context, um, we have over time bought a messianic mindset as a people. To bring that to the fore, it means that we have over time had this messianic expectation because I began by saying that I would like to assess Nigeria's progress by how well we've been able to journey into nationhood. And that means that what is the role of an average Nigerian, pari passu, the youth in this journey into nationhood? Leadership is not about holding a political office. Leadership is about being able to identify a problem and bring a solution to it. Yes, just like the Lord's Bishop had said, tech progress has been made, correct? Side by side, if you look at this, they are bringing progress within the tech sector. How does this translate into the place of administrative leadership in this context, in the context of democracy, politics or political activities? Because of the fact that we've had this messianic mindset, let me connect the dots. We feel like politics is for a group of people. You understand? We feel like politics is for a group of people. Why that is on one side gives credence to the Greek philosophy of democracy, which is government for the people, by the people, and for the people, which sends representative to that place. But it also places real Greek Aboriginal democracy, places a demand on those who are being represented to hold those who are representing them accountable. And in the journey of accountability is where I fault the average Nigerian today. And also, like the Lord's Bishop had said, yes, there is a seeming increase of interest of the average Nigerian youth today to participate in political activities. You could see that in the last election. It's evident, and we took note for that. You could see that at NSAS, the youth being able to come together to make a move that even goes to trend, that speaks to power that things are not the way they are anymore. 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, an average politician that it doesn't take Facebook, Instagram serious. But it has changed over time. But this is my problem. It's not about your activeness in politics. It's about the method in which you want to be active in politics. And we're going to talk about that in detail so that I don't take much of the time for this question. My concern has always been the method of engaging in political activities for the youth. And on this note, the youth in Nigeria are not doing politics the way it's supposed to be done, because you cannot expect to get a different result from those who you are accusing if you employ their own methods. Propaganda, lies, telling things that are not supposed to be so my argument has always been that no, let's not do it this way. Politics should not be one of belligerence where we are fighting each other. It can be, politics is basic around conversation. Let us talk. Let us have conversations. Average political party that we know today don't have an ideals. What is APC known for? What is the PDP known for? What is NNDP known for? What is ADC known for? What is all these parties? What are their ideals? We can't pinpoint to say this is their ideals. And then we are looking at a generation coming forward, criticizing these people, and you ask an average person, what is your own solution to the problem? They can't tell you. So my concern is that we must look beyond pointing accusing fingers to find practical solutions, and doing that with methods that can work without tearing anybody down. Yes.
So, sir, this question is for you, our pastor. I would like to answer this question. As a leader, how do you define true leadership in today's world?
In today's world, if we are talking from the confines of the Nigerian community, it is leadership based on authority and position, of which I don't buy into. There are people who they tend not to have people they are leading. They are being led because there is an opportunity they found themselves. For instance, you are you are in an office and then you have a boss. He might not be leading you, but because he has a position, you have to obey him.
Yeah.
So in terms of our Nigerian society, those are the kind of leaders that we tend to have in most times. But I feel leadership is influence, where you tend to influence the thoughts and pattern and lifestyle of the people. A situation where people willingly follow you because of they love
What you
do
are
and
doing.
it's towards progress.
Wow.
Now, and most of the times you observe that leaders, if you say leaders are not visionary, you might be wrong in a way because everyone who is a leader has a vision. The
Wow.
problem is what kind of vision do you have? There are people who have vision for their pocket.
What kind of vision
Yes.
do you have?
There are people who have vision for their pocket. There are people who have vision for their family. There are people who have vision just for their selfish interest. But that's
Yeah.
not it. When we're talking about leader, we are talking about a leader who has vision for the people, for the nation, for the state. Where are we going to? Now, a leader who does not think about progress in long term should not have a position, should not have a people who is leading.
Yeah.
Remember, we are on a journey.
Yes.
Yes.
Have we even started the journey? There are some leaders that have not started any journey. 4 or 5 years you're on a seat, you have not led anything. There's nothing you are working on, but your pocket is being enriched. That is bad. You must understand that if you have truly led a people, you will see there's change in their belief system.
Yeah.
You will see a not just flicker of hope. You will see bright hope in their faces. You will see people tend to want to do better and want to do more. This is not where you have to lobby to become a leader again. You understand?
Yeah.
Haven't you observed that there are certain persons who don't have positions, but they have the heart of the people?
Yes.
It is because of what they represent. A leader who has no principle should not be a leader at all, at all, at all. You must have standards, and the standards should not just be based on the confinement of the place you come into. Maybe you come into an office, this is how we do it here. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. You should have standard that does not dehumanize your fellow human being. You should have standard that should promote cohabitation or possibly proper ethnicity, where everyone from different ethnicity can come together and unite.
As
Not the kind
one.
of standard where you do favoritism, you do tribalism, or whatsoever. That is not proper. So a leader who cannot influence the thought pattern of the people towards progress can never become the leader.
Wow. Wow. One of the key points I got from your word is every leader has a vision.
Yes, sir.
The question is, what kind of vision do you have? So today we are +1, and this isn't the season of celebration. I would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
How do you see Nigerian rules in shaping African as a continent?
I think there's a cause for celebration there, but that I hold your perspective. You have the right to your perspective because of the fact that as a student of history, I can count over 7 times that it has been projected that Nigeria was going to explode. You know, and every of these 7 times we didn't explode. I think that is something to even give thanks to God for. And historically, you would discover that Nigeria is the only country from the old British colony that is still standing.
Wow.
Every other country that the Britain or the Britons colonized had splitted.
Sincerely,
Yes.
yes, it's true.
Yes. So the question is, there's a spiritual dimension to this thing, and to give credence to our brother, the Lord's Bishop, I think the prayers they pray in church and the prayers the guys pray in the mosque
It's working.
is working. Yeah. So that's something to
Thank
be
you for
thankful.
keep praying.
That's
These are
something
the
to be thankful
encouragement.
to God for. Because of the number of things that happen in this country and we endure. And over the last 6 months, I've had this frustration to say that I don't think Nigerians were suffering enough. Because if we're suffering enough like we want the world to believe or like we want each other to believe, we'll take action.
Yes, sir.
The state of docility is one that points to the fact that it's not as bad as we think.
Yeah.
But then an average Nigerian wants to just complain to feel among and all of that. But that does not take off the credit of the fact that there is sequence of suffering in the land. Yes, and I do not attribute that to this present administration.
Yes.
Because leadership is a continuum. And you cannot hold a man accountable for things that have been done, who's in office for 2 years, for things that have been done for a very long time before
Over
himself.
20 years.
And we're saying, not even 20 years, that we've not had a leader that has a political will like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu since 1976.
Wow.
The last person was Murtala Muhammad. Political will. There's a difference between political power and political will. To have the political will to take the bull by the horn is something that I commend this administration for. It is also worthy of note that there are sufferings in the land, and I believe that he is a leader that hears. He listens, and he understands the dynamics of leadership. So, but in 4 years' time, we should be able to assess him to see has he failed or has he succeeded, side by side with his predecessors. Put facts and data together. So, to bring that down, Nigeria as a country, the role we are going to play in Africa, I shouldn't be the first to say this. Everybody has said this. In Jimovia's book, African Rising, he said if Nigeria rises, the book was even, the book African Rising by Jimovia was conterminous to Nigeria's growth. Because African Rising was a statement that I think somebody made, was it himself or somebody else who made, when in 2003, Nigeria began to grow its GDP, economy base began to grow gradually again. So it is, Nigeria is, the growth of Nigeria and very recently South Africa is conterminous to the expansion or the emancipation of Africa within the global stage. So if we get our acts right home here, it will spread abroad into Africa, because we're just like a miniature of the African continent, and we are still the big brothers of Africa. So if we get it right as a country, Africa will get it right too.
Wow, key fact. If we get it right as a country,
Yes.
Africa will get it right. So I think Nigeria has a whole lot of role to play in making
And
Africa.
I must commend the present administration.
Sincerely, they are doing well. You know, you have changed. There's something I've actually learned since I met you, is that I've seen the government from another point of view.
Yes.
From the point of view of judgmentalism, I've seen the government from the point of view of praising what they are doing, because the change is actually visible.
Yes.
Every day we see new things coming up,
Yes.
new progress. So thank you so much for helping me to change that point of view.
Let me also correct that impression. If that's what you got, it's beautiful. You understand? Because I recall some few days ago, you had asked me a question that I stylishly dodged. You know, you had asked which political party do I belong to, and I dodged it.
You just gave me an assignment.
Yes. As a matter of fact,
But right now we are going to factor the political party. We like
you have to bring proof. As a matter of fact,
we are going to factor it. Bishop, you're here. You're a man of the spirit. We're going to factor it.
Yeah, you know. So the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be studied. Yeah, he should be studied. He should be studied. He's a phenomenon when it has to do with leadership dynamics in Africa and in Nigeria. He understands Nigeria and is putting round pegs in round holes. You would not understand the level of commendation he should get, because I've read it was only the late President Muhammadu Buhari's autobiography I didn't read. Every president who has served in Nigeria, I've read their autobiography.
Wow.
And I can tell you that, especially those who were civilian presidents, their greatest obstacle was the legislation. And these obstacles were, you want me to pass this bill that will lead to Nigeria's progress, you have to water my palm. You have to give me XYZ. Most notable was Shagari's time. When I read Shagari's autobiography, I almost wept, because the things this president is doing now were things he wanted to do then. But they gave him options like, you have to buy the Senate president a private jet.
Yeah.
You have to do stuff. They sabotaged this nation. So Nigeria is self-sabotage. And if you find out that the president is working with legislation, judiciary, and they are passing his policies, you must commend that man, because those who came before know how difficult it was. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu understands the politics of democracy, and he understands the democracy of politics. Wow. He understands the politics of administration, and he understands the administration of politics. So we must give it up for that gentleman. He's leading a significant change.
Wow.
And there's just more we could hope for.
What do you have to say about
Okay,
agro
yeah,
entrepreneur?
I am a proud agro entrepreneur, and I use the word proud because I am happy doing what I'm doing, and I have to use that because our youth these days don't see agriculture as an option to do. They don't see it as one thing to do, and they tend to focus on tech and robotic AI and all, but we fail to understand that agriculture has even more money than what they claim to get from tech.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How was the break?
Very well, very well.
How was the break, Bishop? Okay. So, sir, I have an important question for you. I just checked my phone and I saw a message from someone said if you're given an opportunity to be the president of Nigeria, what would you do different?
First of all, I'm going to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
I knew this 8 years ago, and we have plus or minus 19, 20 years to go. So I began to prepare. So I do not know what ground to be covered by those who would come before me. But when I get there, I know that I'm going to make sure that I re-engineer. I open a dialogue. That means if somebody doesn't do it before I get there, and with the way things are going, I do not think that it's going to be done. If it's done, I'll be taken by surprise.
Mm.
And that's the conversation of us Nigerians having a constitution that is bettered by conversations. We need to negotiate our terms of unity. I know that we were told when we were in school that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. No, the unity of Nigeria is negotiable. We need to understand the terms of our unity. So that's my paramount goal, because I've carefully, as a law student, studied the document called the Nigerian Constitution. At the end of it, it says that you cannot sue the government if they don't fulfill their part of that constitution. It means that as it has to do with jurisdiction, the constitution is not judiciable. So we are living a hoax. If you get a sense to become the president of Nigeria with the present constitution we have, there's so little he can do. That is why my praise for the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu is massive. Because how that man maneuvers his way towards certain things still baffles me. You know, it's something I would make sure that is done, because if the constitution is set right,
people will get it.
Everything will be set right. What to be done, at what point, by who, how, would be clear. Most of my colleagues in school today, I've had conversations with them and they tell you things like, I want to be a lawyer because I've seen loopholes in the Nigerian constitution, and there are lawyers who you bring them to court, they find loopholes and then they delay cases for years. In a subtle way, that is obstructing the quick administration of justice. If these things are addressed, we know who is to do what, we know what penalties for what. It's clear. Every constitution we've used as a nation is laid down. It's like order, it's like a decree.
A system.
You know. So the systems that brings for a constitution to be formed will be properly put in place, and then we have a constitution that can work for Aminu in Samaru, that can work for Adelakbo in Ota and Yegbaju, somewhere in Osun State, that can work for Tamuno, somewhere in Boni Island, can still work for Shehu in Meduguri, can work for Ngozi in Anambra, can work for everybody, and then we can have a stake in this nation. There's a lot to talk about the constitution, but then I'll leave it at this. It's something that is there for me to do, and if you can solve that problem, you solve the problem of leadership and followership in Nigeria.
Wow. I hope if you have been following to this point, you must have learned so many things. And I will advise that you subscribe and share this video with someone. Back to our bishop. So, if you had an opportunity to redesign Nigeria or Africa system for progress, where would you begin?
I will
Or
begin from the
begin
grassroots.
from the grassroots?
Yes. You know that statement they say in social studies where family is a group of people related by blood. It starts from the nuclear family. I think it's important we change the narrative of how we see leadership from the grassroots.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there is the kind of mindset that's enshrined on a people by the kind of leader they have as a father, as a mother, as a firstborn. You understand? Most of the times the children tend to follow who they grow up to see. Possibly their father is a drunkard,
Yeah.
they
Who
become
they grow up to
drunkards,
see.
they become wife beaters, they become whatsoever. So from the grassroots, we must find a way to give people access to proper information. You understand? Where someone can be living in a place that is not too developed, but the person still have access to proper information. Now, this is beyond schools because these days we go to school, there are people who are not qualified, who are just there to teach because they got a job opportunity. Some of the teachers today, then in 50 years ago, 70 years ago, or let's bring it forward a little bit, 20 years ago, teachers had the passion to impact knowledge. These days, teaching is a job opportunity. You understand? So if you just leave your kids to go to school just because they want to get knowledge, are they getting proper knowledge? So you understand? So as a
Wow.
leader, let's go to the grassroots from the family. What kind of mindsets are children having under their father, under their mother, under their elder brothers? So, and secondly, the environment. I will find a way, or we will try and build a system where at every given community, there are people who have the right mindset, who have the ability to, there's what I call thinking space. Most of the times, people don't have their thinking space. An average Nigerian or an average African, if you ask him, what do you think about this matter? He will quote someone else verbatim. You understand? People no longer have their thinking space because of possibly social media or where they are living. So when you deploy people who have the correct mindset, the correct attitude, the correct lifestyle towards building a nation, definitely society will change. So you groom leaders, we try our best to groom leaders from our own little sphere, send them out. So the church is not just a place where Jesus is preached, you learn leadership and it is effective in the 4 walls of the church. No, 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 no. The message has to spread. So each of these individuals that are groomed, they go to each sphere, they go to each communities, teach people the right to think properly, receiving proper information, digesting it and acting right. A lot of people receive proper information, but they don't act right.
Yeah.
You can understand that stealing is bad, but you are still stealing. You understand? All because it favors you. There's this cliche that happens in Africa where when it favors you, it is called favor. When it does not favor you, it is corruption. So which means they understand, they know the right knowledge, but acting right is the problem. So if we raise more leaders, of course, a leader is, according to Mr. President, I do call him Mr. President, a leader is someone who has followed properly. So a leader is also a follower, was once a follower, will still be a follower. As a matter of fact, followership never ends. The day you stop following, you start dying. The day you stop following, your standards start dropping. The day you stop following, you lose sight of whatever you are seeing, you lose sight of the vision. So if we train people who are followers, who tend to become leaders of a particular community, of a particular age group, a particular kind of people, and then definitely things will change. I believe things will change. I believe we'll have drastic change. But then, are we ready to accept this change? Are we ready? Because sometimes what we see today are people following leaders because of what they might gain.
Yeah.
When people go for mentorship, when people go for followership, it is because what can I gain? So it is somebody who is popular, somebody who has the highest results, not somebody that can teach you what is right. Not somebody that can. That's why, though I spoke about passive mentorship. But I still encourage that there should be an active mentor around your life. The person can easily correct you. See the track. What track are you heading now? Is it proper? Is it wrong?
As a mentor, you can reach out to any day, anytime.
Yes. And also, you don't become a father because you can impregnate a lady. I think we need to have more meetings where we don't just preach to people to give their life to Christ, talk there's going to be a great nation. No. We need to teach people how to culture the future generation, the next generation. You understand? A child can be 2 years old. They are saying the child is a small child.
Talking about culture, let me not cut you short. Just hold the line of thought there.
Yeah.
In one of our classes, an Israeli lecturer of mine, he said something that struck me. He said, in some year, I can't remember the year, but this was like 100 years ago. So those who were manufacturing coffee brought coffee to Japan. And these were people who were used to the Aboriginal tea. So it flopped. So they went back, talking about culture. They went back, made coffee into sweets,
And try to.
and they were selling through the children. The generation that was there don't like coffee. Now, they are just the test boards of the children. In Asia today, Japan, they love coffee. Do you get the analogy?
Yes.
They began with selling sweets to the children.
That has
They
coffee.
got yes, sweets that had coffee. They got used to that. And when they
System.
grew up, they began to patronize coffee, caffeinated or decaffeinated. That taste. If you meet an average Bangladeshi, Sri Lankan, Pakistani, Indian, Japanese, the Arab nations, they love coffee. They don't joke with it. So talking about culture, so you could just continue with that.
Okay. So there need to be a lot of we need to find a way to culture people properly.
How to live right.
Yes, you don't wait for the child to become 18 years to teach him what is right. And when I mean what is right, I don't mean what is acceptable by the society. You understand?
Yeah.
There are a lot of children growing today who believe in a kind of feminism, a feminism that sees a woman possibly ahead of a man. You understand? That kind of feminism where you are dependent on your own. You understand? Whereas if you're meant to be dependent on your own, you won't have other humans.
Yeah.
God created other humans to show that we will always be dependent on someone.
Each other.
You understand? So there are a lot of things in our society today that seem right, but it is not right.
Wow.
So deploying leaders scattered across our communities who are well trained, not leaders. That is why me as a person, I'm not comfortable with grading an individual, just like in the schooling system where you grade somebody
First, second.
I'm not comfortable with that because I don't believe that tends to tell. There are circumstances that could make somebody to fail an exam in a particular term. You understand? If
At a particular period of time.
yes, if you feel possibly that person was sick, that person lost his mom or his dad, and then someone who does not have a background story of that tend to feel, okay, this person is wrong. You understand what I mean? So, but I'm talking about leaders who were properly trained, where it's not that you just go, anybody can find a way to pass an exam, but did the person actually write the exam? You understand? So it's beyond carrying a flock of people and then graduating them through exams. No. Did they pass the rigor of training? Because we are talking about the next generation here. This person that you are sending out to become a leader, does he have the right mindset? That's one. Number two, does he have the right attitude? Can he represent? It was Pastor Paul that said, those that have standards in life. So
Wow.
do they have the right standard
To stand out in life.
You understand? So if people are properly trained this way, you understand, then we head directly to the grassroots. We have kids here, okay, don't do this. This is what you should do. When they begin to grow with that mindset, definitely in the next 10, 20 years, things will begin to evolve. You understand? There are a lot of our fathers who, if you want to imbibe some of these cultures, it is not all of them that you capture. You understand? It is said that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. We can start becoming leaders from today by educating the younger ones properly.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, sir.
This is much. Thank you so much for giving us this light. So, just like you rightly said, Mr. President, we hope, I'm waiting for that day, and it's coming very soon. So, do you believe Africa can rise without unity among its nations? Why or why not?
This question itself, its answer itself. Do you believe so?
Without unity, there is no growth.
So I think the question answers itself. There's no way we can rise without unity.
That is amazing. So you just answered this question. Let's hit to another question again. So what is the role of an entrepreneur in Africa growth story?
You know, the uniqueness of the African climate is that we still run an analogous economy.
Analogous economy.
Yes, you don't just have the invisible hands of economics determining the market space. You have the political hands that are visible. It means that the economy is coterminous with the political system. A political decision affects the economy. Every entrepreneur in Nigeria today, if you must break even, you must have affiliation to political pickwings. You must scratch somebody's back, especially the government in power, because it is part of our culture. It is part of our tradition as Aboriginal Africans to do patronage.
It's in the system already.
You know, so for the average entrepreneur, I would also need to know, by entrepreneur, do you mean both the small, medium, or the scale?
Yeah.
So for those who have scaled, I think we need to just democratize the system of our economy in the real sense of democratizing it. Government should create enabling environments and let the private sector drive the economy without interference. To the viewers, watch Paul Owanibe's interview after Landmark was demolished. Read Femi Otedola's book. Also, read Okonjo-Iweala's book, Fighting Corruption is Dangerous.
Then Femi Otedola book, How to Make It Big.
Yes, how to make it big. That's the only book he has written.
Okay.
So how to make it big. So
it's an amazing book. I've gone through.
Yes. So he talks about, these people talk about the close knitness of politics and business. If you do not adhere to the tenets, you'll be taken out of the way. I've had that experience before. So you must submit to something, political order. It doesn't need to be so, but I still believe we're on the journey, and as we advance, things becomes better. Also, again, I need to give kudos to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I think
those activities are minimal now. He's creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs to thrive. Sit down, look at the new tax review that has been passed in record time. Look at his policy directions. Look at the things he gives reference to. Look at the conversations he has with people. These are indices you need to use to measure a man's capacity to lead. And I'm not surprised, but I'm also surprised. Not surprised because he's coming from the private sector. So he understands the things that private sector goes through.
Yeah.
To end this, it was Dangote that said, when a Nigerian entrepreneur dies, God will have mercy on him and not send him or her to hell. Because being an entrepreneur in Nigeria is hell in itself.
Yeah.
You would not understand until you come within or you become a victim of this move. They stay in their offices, they have no technical know-how, they don't know how business works, but because they have political power, they direct things and they cause a whole lot of problems. So that is why you see that most of the war that comes for the present president is within the elite class, because he has come to rattle the fragile balance upon which things held. Come on now. Otedola's book, even beyond that, we knew getting oil in Nigeria. We've heard of stories of people who don't have even a fuel tanker. They get allocations for oil in Nigeria. They don't have a fuel tank, a petrol tanker. And people who have storage farms don't even have access to it.
Oh.
So we're talking about a country where the regulators are at the mercy of one. Regulators are now used as
The channel to
abuse, to close down.
the government.
That's a total conversation that should be done in a different day or different time. Because if you look at this, you laugh.
I think we'll talk about this in our life next.
Yes, you look at it, you laugh. It's that's why I said my number one policy direction when I become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is to review that constitution. Totally take it off. Get something new. A regulator is earning less than who is regulating. So let's just focus on matters that are arising and then within the context of this.
Oh, yeah. Our bishop, what do you think is holding Nigeria back the most? Leadership, resource, or the mindset of the people?
Majorly, I would say it goes both ways. Mindset of the people and then leadership.
And what about resource?
We have that in abundance.
We have resource.
It can never be our problem.
Okay, so let's focus on leadership and the mindset.
of these people. Now, leadership starts with you, right? You must understand that you have to start leading from where you are. From where you are. How many Nigerians without order, apart from barracks, some of these barracks, will you take a bottle of water and then not throw it
on the floor?
You understand? So leadership starts with you. That we have to understand that we have a role to play to make this country a better place. You understand? What if we don't have that kind of mindset, and then we have a kind of mindset in Nigeria where the total responsibility to make this nation better lies with those in power.
Which is not possible.
Is not supposed to be
it's
so.
not supposed to be so.
We have 2 lanes, and then there's what to call one way. I believe
It's a normal culture.
You understand?
It's a normal system for us.
Irrespective of how, if there is an order in a particular place, somebody just wants to ruffle the order. Take for instance our time management. An African man, possibly Nigerian, can boldly hit his hand on his chest and said, "There's what we call African time."
Yeah, it's normal.
What is African?
It's normal. It's African time. They won't start at the right time.
And that mindset now has spread around the country, where if you go to a place at the proper time, the meeting is not starting. That's one. Number 2, you are seen as someone who is jobless because you came early. One who is to be honored is the person that just come in late and then he just bends his voice and says, "I'm sorry, please, I'm just coming back from the meeting." And then they think that person is really busy, has something doing, that's why he came late. You understand?
Yeah.
If we start adjusting our mindset, that change begins with us, and we are also leaders from our own end, things will get better. And to the leaders, these opportunities that are given to you is not forever.
Yeah.
What will you be remembered for? I believe so much in posterity and legacy. When you are no longer in the limelight, when you are no longer in the seat, what will you be remembered for? What will your administration be remembered for? A lot of persons have come on that seat and they have gone. Were they remembered as somebody who caused more tears or created an avenue for people to have joy?
Wow. This is big. The mindset and leadership. I think over a long period of time, I've developed this culture. Even if you check my back right now, you will see either a pure water leader on my back or something. You just see something, because I don't like throwing things on the way while so God will help us to believe more that leadership.
No, God will not help.
Okay, we'll come to the realization that leadership begins with us as individuals.
From where you stand. 90% of the gridlock in Nigeria today, the popular Lagos hold up, the popular Abuja, Maraba, Nyanya hold up.
It's natural.
There's nothing that, it's just that people don't understand the tenets of commuting. And there are sometimes you stay in this gridlock for hours. Then all of a sudden you hear a siren, a military general is passing, they clear the road for them. You see that is man-made. So that is what an average Nigeria will look like if we don't even have these leaders we select. Because everybody feels like he knows too much. Nobody wants to listen to another, and there is no respect in the system.
Wow, that is big. So talking about this, we move to the next question. So what opportunities do you believe Africa has that the rest of the other nation are looking up to?
The presence of arid, authentic, natural resources in commercial, transgenerational quantity. That's our blessing.
Natural.
That has also been our curse because we don't understand who we even are. The word Africa came from where first? The word Africa is Roman by etymology. That means to say the origin of that word. When an emperor called Africanus came to Alkebulan, where we are is called Alkebulan, the beginning of civilization. Conquered here, then he renamed it Africa.
Wow.
This is big.
You know, so we do not even know. In Matthew Ashimolowo's book, black but not cost, I think something around that texture. Walter Rodney's How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. He spoke about the fact that our greatest problem as Africans is awareness.
Information. We talked about that today.
Yes,
Information.
Yes.
So that's our greatest problem.
And the Bible said, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."
Yes.
Not God identified them, my people.
Yes.
That these are even children of God. They
Yeah.
belongs to God,
Yes.
but they still perish for
Yes.
lack of knowledge. So if you don't you posted something on the community, which I saw, and I from my knowledge I discovered that I think there are no more than 4 people that discovered that some of those questions I was asking, no more those requests
Yes.
I was making, but that information is there.
Yes.
How many people are going to find that kind of information and ask question on how can this be accessed?
We like cruise in Nigeria. we like cruise. In
Because
Nigeria.
whenever you post something on the community, I first of all take out time to read through it and know the ones I want for now
Yes.
and the ones I will need for the future.
Yes.
So I think that one we need to go back to gain informations. Once we have informations, I think we will.
That's why the community is there. Anyways, maybe the community is just there for that reason to pioneer conversations that are
Critical.
information grounded.
And so far, being in that community, being in the Kashi community, I've learned so much.
It's boring too.
It's boring, but the information are
It's
needed.
boring too. I know how to make that place active. I know how to. One recharge card here, another one there.
Everywhere will come back alive.
But we need to move beyond. I remember it was now my dear friend Sir Martins Uja who said, no, Judah. He said, poverty is a thing of the mind. Is a thing of the mind. The moment you go into survival mode,
I hope somebody saying this particular.
make I just grab anything where I
thing
think
of the mind
you know, let me grab what I can grab.
and move on.
You will lose touch with legacy, just like you said. You will lose touch with the bigger picture. Why are we doing the things we do now? What is it? The guy who does my graphics, his name is Victor Echoda, a very sound guy, and watching you should check up on him on Instagram, VCTR. You know, when we talk, 80% of the jobs he does for me, I don't pay. He believes so much in my metamorphosis. He believes so much in where I'm going to. He has seen the reality of it. He had factored it. There are people who, yes, come, they just get the money and just go
and move on.
That is why for me as a person, I don't like my relationship to be built first by money.
Yeah.
No, it should be beyond that. We should have an idea about what the future should look like. At that point, I would end it by saying, if the goal where you hustle now to stop sapa, you get the level
Never
of
ready.
finesse where your work no go get. Yes, because you be in a haste to bring it out to end
Yeah.
instead of bringing out something that can stay for
That
long.
can transform the next generation. This is very, very
Yes.
big. This is big. So we are still talking about leadership, and we believe a lot of questions have been answered. You watching us today, I believe you must have got a whole lot of light, just awareness, information that should change your mind. So how can leadership in Africa move away from title and focus on more impact?
We have the answers to these things, yeah. The first is, number one, an average African should first of all learn how to lead his or herself. Not everything be about food. Your stomach, your life does not revolve around it. That's the first thing we need to understand, because a man who eats everything he gets today cannot make impact tomorrow.
Somebody should write this down, please.
You know, because impact is another word for fruit.
Yes.
Without planting, you don't get a harvest. And that seed you saw was a potential food. So if somebody took out time to plant what was supposed to be thrown away, cultivated it, it has made impact. And then also, we are traumatized. Let me leave this conversation. We are traumatized because if this is the way to end this at this point, we are traumatized people in Africa. Yes, we are traumatized, very, very well traumatized, and it is caused by poverty. You understand? We're traumatized. People want to plant trees and still wait until they want to plant trees that will shade them. Nobody wants to plant a tree and say, okay, let it shade the next generation coming. We only talk. Nobody's ready to do. That's why you see an average Nigerian would not even do anything that would put him in harm's way. You know, he would not. He would not. We had the likes of Gani Fahimi. How many Nigerians remember Gani Fahimi today? Nobody. It's about the stomach. So consistently, we find ourselves in that circle, and then we can't make impact because it's survival mindset. Impact is built on your ability to overcome hunger or self-gratification. Delay it. Let the next generation benefit from this. So it's basically what it is. You can't get impact with. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Well, Bishop, this question is for you. You're a leader, and a lot of people are looking up to you. So, what would you have to say about Africa and Nigeria, Africa, when it comes to reading? Do you think we develop time to read?
Um,
And how can reading change the system?
okay. Africans are reading are like
Cataract.
cataracts. It's something I hopefully believe is developing. I have to use that word. Hopefully believe is developing, because most of the times people don't care to get a detailed information about the subject matter. You just post it online, give us a summary or whatever you think was there, and then we'll
We'll
fly
do
with
it.
it. You see this inbuilt, we're always in a haste. You know, we're always in a haste. Africans, Nigerians, we're always in a haste about the subject matter. We don't want to pay attention to something trending, to something happening. If, for instance, now Mr. President has spoken about how well Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been doing, who cares? You understand? Nobody wants to check the fact if it is true.
The
If
fact.
there is a subject matter, if there is a narrative pushed online, we carry the banner.
There's a good friend of mine who is on the community who will never support anything.
I have received his comment. I've received his comment.
So what happened today was from another community I belong to, they posted independence message and it was Tinubu's face that was there. You know, unashamedly, I belong and I'm a pioneer in that trail. Tinubu initiative for national transformation. That means for him to be returned 2027, and I'm one of his foot soldiers, and I can say that. I believe in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not APC. I'm not a card carrying member of any party yet. But that man, so I shared it with him. He said, God forbid, I shared it again. He said,
I think there was a little fire going on in the community.
He said, God bless Nigeria. I said, yes.
There was a little fire going on in the community today.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about reading, people don't even have time to read about a manual of a product.
Not at all.
You're browsing, you're shopping the internet, and you see an information. They will not ask you, do you agree or this? You don't even want to check the.
You know, the funny thing is, the people who are criticizing Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking up subsidy, their candidate was going to take off that subsidy too.
The case, we end the matter here.
So was it that they didn't read the manifesto of their candidate too? Or what is the matter?
I think that was one of the major points of campaign. Who is going to earn subsidy? So I believe every political party that was coming up for presidential position had that in his or her
I must
manual.
also mention we need to put this man in the right course of history. Dr. Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan. We need to put him in the right place of history. Most of the things we see today were things he championed and he took the fall for. And he suffered and was victimized for. He began the end to the subsidy regime. You know, we must, at that time we were not better informed, where we were supporting the campaign against Goodluck because he took up subsidy. If I had known that that was what subsidy was doing to Nigerians at that time, I would say take it up, because it was eating our future today. You know, there's no country in the world that subsidizes oil for its citizens. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait. The problem with Nigeria is not to increase minimum wage. Let's do things that would increase the value of the naira.
Yes.
That's all. That is all. Do things that will increase the value of naira. Very, very much important. Bishop, how can leaders inspire the next generation without losing credibility?
How we need to inspire the next generation without losing credibility.
I'm going to leave this interview now.
We have one last question. We are wrapping it up. You have
That is my one
question.
He will soon come back now.
He will not agree now.
It is coming up very soon. Yeah.
This is my last question.
Yes, this is the last question. Your last question is coming.
Okay.
The question is very, 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 very important.
If you are interviewing him, I want to ask him. I will be sending you questions on
No problem. Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting.
So the first question.
We have time, so
just after 9.
so without losing credibility.
Number one is do what you say and say what you can do. You understand? Don't give people false promises. I want to build.
Can you repeat the word again?
Do what you say and do what you can do. With that, you will not lose credibility. When I came on it, this is what I say I'm going to do, and this is what I'm doing. Don't bring promises that are too lofty. You understand? If you are telling us something that you cannot actualize now, we should understand that you are putting us on a path that whoever is coming is going to actualize it. If this is put in place, if for instance I said I'm going to be the leader of this political position or this sector in Nigeria, and then within the next 4 years I'm going to ensure that there are going to be borehole, there are going to be street lights, should be done.
Do it.
You understand?
That is.
And we should learn not to trade our future for
today,
for things that don't have quality. You understand? I can promise the people I'm going to bring street lights, and then it is not quality product. So after 2 weeks now, you discover that whatever was made available is something that is
the money used to commission the project is even more than this.
And this is what happens to building. Working inside, I've discovered that people tend to manage material, and the maintenance cost is higher than the original cost it would have taken you to make it right.
But I can tell you, fact check me, get engineers to go and check. The projects being handled directly by the federal government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
They are professionals.
Professionals.
For that one, I've made research about that. I know some people are going to argue this part because they have not taken out time to read.
Yes.
I read a lot. I read every information that's from the community, and I make my own personal research. Yes. So if it is that one, I can tell you for sure that they are futures.
No, most Nigerians.
Looking at what is happening in the city of Abuja now, the transformation, the building sector in Abuja now, look at what is happening.
Yeah.
So there is hope for the future when it comes to the structure he's building.
Yeah. Have you observed that most Nigerians, we don't have time? This is what happens.
We don't have time to read.
We have a Messiah who possibly has a strength at a particular field. He tends to come up with any kind of information, and as long as 1 or 2 times he has said something that is correct, even though he has a personal bias, we will still into that thing that is a perceived truth. We have celebrities right now where we see them as people who are at the top. You understand? They could have political bias, they could have leadership bias. we are not concerned about
that. Leave that. Let them not come for you. Leave that conversation.
So it is important that we this hunger for.
Let them not say Tinubu has given you money now.
Nobody collected money.
But
it
is you that is giving that caveat. The level of come in life is your business. If you feel anybody gave you money, is your.
They should even give me the money. Let me eat. That would be better, sir.
So. I believe we should
okay. Yeah, the last question for Mr. President. What will be your last word if Nigeria is about to end today, or if you are about to leave today? What will be your last word in Nigeria and in Africa as a country?
Okay, if I know this is my tomorrow, I'm going to build my creator, correct? If I should give a parting word, is it as a human being,
as a human being,
as a president living?
As a human being or as a president living power?
First, as a human being, my parting word to Nigeria and everybody close to me is be a Nigerian from
where
your home.
Are.
If you are an Idoma man, be the expression of what an Idoma man is to the Nigerian state, and be an expression of what a Nigerian is to the Idoma people. That's the characteristic of the sage, my role model and one of my mentors, Chief Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu, Ezigbo Gburugburu, Ikemba Nnewi, is that he was to the Igbo nation, Ojukwu was the classical representation of what a Nigerian ought to be. And to the Nigerian, Ojukwu was a classical representation of what an Igbo man ought to be. So that would be my parting word. But as a president living power, I would just ask Nigerians to be patient with my successor. Yeah, because Nigerians, as lofty as the things we like, we are impatient.
Yeah.
We are impatient. We are impatient. We masturbate a lot, so it affects our mind. By mental masturbation.
Yeah, mental masturbation.
We like to catch cruise. God. We like utopianism.
The vibing masters.
We do not like to pay the price of anything we want. It should just happen. You want urbanization without demolition.
Which is not possible.
Which is not possible. And then we should also be facing the real things. When you come to demolish, your argument should not be why demolish. Your argument should be how do you compensate?
Yes.
Because these are, being a law student these few years has opened my eyes to many things. Approach, method. There's this maxim we have. The law, the judge knows the law. Two counsels, the prosecutor and the defendant, they know the law. It is to bring out a proof to convince the judge on what to do with the law you all. So, as Nigerians, approach is important. Government, the constitution empowers government to do and undo. So you do not question government doing. You question what the constitution gives to you. That if government does X to you, you are entitled to X. So don't go and fight their right in itself. Fight for what is your own. So that's been the problem with Nigeria. That's been the problem. You're trying to fight an authority that is sovereign. You don't fight authority that is sovereign. You negotiate with authority that is sovereign. Not fight, you negotiate. You negotiate. You negotiate. To end this,
that is why they say there's a price to unity.
Yes.
That is negotiation.
It's negotiation. Yeah. What diplomacy would not do, more diplomacy
will do it.
Yeah. That's just basically. So I will ask Nigerians to be patient with my
next successor. And don't forget to be in Nigeria.
And keep him on his toes.
Where you are.
Yes.
So do it to subscribe. Do it to share this video. Thank you. We love you and see you in our next interview. Don't forget we're having a live next week and we hope to be around. Thank you.